Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump have started to and will continue to testify in the Trump Organization New York civil fraud trial. I know it's really difficult to keep track of all these different trials, which ones are criminal, which ones are civil, what would the potential repercussions be. We actually have video of Don Jr. arriving yesterday and sitting in the courtroom, and we're going to talk about a lot of different elements of this, but it's really important to understand that the consequences here are potentially huge for the Trump Organization. And Donald Trump is furious that his kids are being brought in to testify. He refers to them as kids. They're in their 40s. You know, they're running businesses. It's actually a crazy reaction from Trump. AP reports Donald Trump Jr. testifies that he never worked on the key documents in his father's civil fraud trial. Here, he was just like a water boy or something like that. Here's Don Jr., as you can see, arriving, surrounded by police officers, and I guess maybe his lawyers, Secret Service, or something like that, giving the prototypical Trump thumbs up. And in he goes. And it was sort of an entire spectacle, kind of circus atmosphere there at the courthouse. We then saw video of Don Jr. sitting inside. I don't even know what was going on here. I guess maybe some photography was taking place.
I should have worn makeup.
There you go. And then you see to Don Jr.'s right, Alina Habba, who is indeed a current Trump lawyer. She later appeared on Newsmax, and she said that it all went really well. Like, what went well or what about it went well, it's not really clear. But she says it was just a great day of testimony for Don Jr.
Habba, Alina, you were in court today. Tell us how it all went down. Don Jr. was there, I believe, testifying as well. Tell us.
Yeah, we had a very strong day today. There you go. That's us. Don was clear, concise, made it very clear that he relied on professionals, and I think the testimony speaks for itself, frankly. They did nothing wrong. We know this, Eric. This is not a witch hunt that has any meat to it. Most of them are completely nonsensical, as we know, but
right.
It was an event for Miss Letitia James to show up and have her press moment, and that's why, this is all happening. Let's just not get it twisted. It's political.
It's all political. 4 criminal trials from 4 different jurisdictions, multiple civil trials, hundreds of witnesses. It's just all staged and set up and, the entire thing. Now, Donald Trump has been really freaking out about this testimony, and we'll delve into that more in a moment. But this whole concept of these are good kids, please leave them alone, it really starts to get weird when we're talking about men in their 40s who were running the company during the time under review, during which the fraud supposedly took place. And it's not even supposedly at this point. It's been determined that it did take place. Now it's a question of what should the penalties be. These are good kids and they're going after them. You imagine a 13-year-old, right, who got caught stealing a candy bar and they're charging him as an adult or something along those lines. It's very much not the case of what is going on here. And the next thing that I do want to look at in more detail is this is really, really, really triggering Donald Trump, and it's actually potentially going to cause even more violations of the gag order. Let's talk about that next. I want to tell you about an awesome free weekly 5-minute video series on the economy. It's called Tychos, featuring Richard Vague. The Tychos video series is sponsoring our show today. Richard Vague is an economic expert, former Secretary of Banking and Securities for Pennsylvania. I've always thought that Vague was a great voice on macroeconomics, the U.S. economy, government, individual debt, income inequality. Every week, Richard Vague covers economic topics to keep you up to date with the key economic issues of our time: U.S. debt, forecasts for the U.S. economy, economic challenges facing Europe and China, innovative policy ideas. Richard's the author of the economic bestsellers A Brief History of Doom, The Case for a Debt Jubilee, and his latest book, which I've talked about before, The Paradox of Debt. Really fascinating book about how government deficit spending in the U.S. during the pandemic mostly benefited the top 10%. Richard Vague is excellent at taking really complicated economic issues, making them accessible to anyone. He does a really great job of this with his 5-minute video series. It's called Tychos. which you can subscribe to for free at tychosgroup.org/join. The link is down below.